Hey Grassy, just showing you my build with my Demon Hunter. I'm going for a Frost Marauder's Sentry build. So this is the gear I have so far and what I intend to do with it. So obviously let's go to the weapon first. The Itrayu, got that from the Never Ending Story. If you actually know what I'm referring to, thumbs up. In all honesty, I'm using this because of the cold damage, the 19%. The only thing that I think I'm missing is the Ramaldini, which is the material or the legendary item that allows you to add a socket for that extra stat. So I can put 10% damage on there, and I can obviously re-roll that socket that I have into 10% damage and then move it into a socket as well, which will boost the damage on that particular weapon. I haven't been able to find one yet, or one hasn't dropped, even though I'm Paragon 304. So obviously you need a Unity to be able to do a higher grade of riffs. I do want to get a socket, but I don't want to lose the crit hit damage. But why Unity is good is because you get half the damage if you have a second Unity and you put it on your follower. As you can see here, you will also need the follower's special item with the passive that the follower doesn't die. So the follower will be taking half your damage, which means that you only get half the damage yourself. Now I'm contemplating of using this Unity instead of the one that's equipped, and re-rolling dex or the damage, I'm not sure yet, to a socket, and then I can have the 15% damage to elites. The Tasco and Theo, definitely I want an upgrade on that. I want to have crit damage on there as well. It's going to be very hard to sacrifice vitality for it, but it will boost up my damage. And plus, if I can get more increased attack speeds for my pet, this is a must that you need. It increases your attack speed. What you're trying to aim for is 2.85. I've got 2.00, but plus the 1.43 times that together, and I'll get over 2.85 attack speed. So my sentries and my pets are attacking at a sufficient speed. So I'm going to show you before my what stats I particularly want. Here's the Witching Hour game for the attack speed. Definitely do want another one with as you can see 7 attack speed. I don't really need the armor. I would prefer vitality instead and higher crit, so I do want another one. I haven't found another one. The rucksack allows you to have 2 additional sentries. I do want a better one, obviously. I want 20% attack speed. Instead of life, I want vitality, and I would like something like 15% either cluster arrow, elemental arrow, or sentry, but more I would like sentry on there. Amulet, we're looking at, I haven't really found anything better. I prefer this because it does have the I can just stand on poison and be immune to it, so that's fantastic. I'm using the Enforcer gem for obvious reasons, because my pets damage is increased, and at rank 25 I'm getting also the second skill, which is that my pets also take 25% less damage, which helps in the greater rifts from 30 and above. As you can see, I'm happy with the dex. I'm happy with the crit hit damage, and the crit hit chance. I do want to get something like maybe the eye. This one's not good, but this is an example. Just because of the secondary, as a ranger, I'm probably getting more hits from range attacks. So getting a 34.7% reduce in damage. That's insane. It's good. Or something like the arcane one, like this one, but definitely do want something better. I don't need the Vite on there, but I could roll that to a socket, but I would also like to have crit hit, but the attack speed's really good, so I can re-roll that and use that instead of the current one I'm using. But what I'm finding that hurts the most is lightning, so if I can get the lightning one, that's good. So let's go to the Marauder set. So the shoulders, they're not too bad. Absolutely awful, the last stat, which is reduce all resource or primary stat, reduce all resource cost. That's something that I don't need, so I'm waiting for something better to drop. Personally, I want something like all resist or cooldown, even though I might not need too much cooldown anyway. The helm, I'm happy with it. I don't think I need anything else, unless I want to re-roll something into like, a damage, skill. That should be fine, but I'm not going to sacrifice max crit for it. I've got the reduced cooldown. You can put a vitality gem in there, which I probably will put later on, because with the Sentry build you don't really need cooldown because your sentries are up most of the time. The chest piece for the Marauder, I'm happy with it. I would prefer obviously more dex, but I've got companion damage, 15% plus 3 dex gems to give me extra armor and increase my attack. The pants, I don't think I'm going to change them. I'm happy with that. I could be very particular and re-roll the Vite for 500 Vite, but I'm happy with him. You can get chest pants with armor, but I prefer the all resist, so that's why I got this one. I do have another one in the stash that has armor, which I was using, but once I got this, I was so happy, especially the 500 dex. And the boots, yeah, they're okay. I would like to have more dex, but otherwise I really don't need to be re-rolling anything or blood shard gambling for better boots. The Royal Ring is probably something I definitely want something better. I'm not too happy with it. Low dex, low attack speed. If you want to know how the the 5.0 to 7% comes up on a Windows machine, you just hold Control and that displays the min and max level, if you were curious. The braces, I'm just using Reapers, even though I don't need the the health globe restores 30% of your primary, but for 146 all resist is good. It's not max crit chance, but I'm looking at either a strong arm bracer because of the knockback giving you more damage. This one's not that good. Or something like one of the season legendaries, which immunes you to knockback and stun effects, which could work really well. Was kind of the stats I was looking for, except for the last 2 primaries, which I rolled 1 for crit, but it's something that I might need to look for again. But it did have 20% cold. As you can see in my gear, I don't have much cold damage. I would like something like 60%, and plus all my damages are mixed everywhere, which is okay, but sometimes you want your main damage to be a bit higher. So I've got companion damage to 15% element arrow 15%, you know, cluster arrow 14%, as you can see over here. But I do prefer to have probably up here in the amulet a 20% or close to you know, cold. So at the moment I've got my bracer and my weapon that's giving me the 38%, but I do want that to increase for that. Okay, so my Paragon points. Now this can be really customizable. You do want definitely the max movement speed. So I only needed 15% points because I've got movement speed somewhere else. I don't know where it is. But if you go down here, you'll look at, I've got 25%. So that's what we're looking at. Guys, also my crit damage to, you know, crit hit chance, you know, you want kind of a 1 to 10 ratio or 10%. Mine isn't. But if you have 405, in my case, you want to have at least of crit hit damage. You want, you know, 40, you know, 41% crit hit chance, just to boost up the multiplier of damage over here. So every time you have I have a 51% chance to crit, and when it crits, my hit damage is increased by 405%. So that's what it means. And elite damage is really good, especially when you're doing greater rifts. But if you're doing the trials, remember that there is no elites in there, so it's sometimes useless. You can get a Stone of Jordan, but in my build I don't need a Stone of Jordan because I'm soloing. If you're not soloing, you can use a Stone of Jordan. Let me zoom out of my character. Okay, Paragon points. Now this is, yeah, up to you. I wanted to get a bit of Vite, so I spent 100 points, 20 points into Vite, and now I'm just, you know, accumulating dex. Now this might look weird and we'll go, why are you doing this? Well, I needed the attack speed to get to at least 2% on my main. So what I mean by that is 2% here plus the 43%, and if you times those together, it gives you the, you know, 2.85%. Paragon P. If you're not sure how to get the shortcut for Paragon points, just press P and you'll go to that screen. And in this case, I don't need cooldown reduction because my sentries are up pretty much most of the time, and I don't need to be popping them all the time quickly. So it was based on what I told you before, that 1%, 1 to 10 ratio, or that 10% ratio, and I needed crit hit damage, so I put the points in there. It's what gave me more damage boost anyway, so it's up to you guys what you want to spend. Now this one, because I don't really have too much ore resist, I would prefer to put ore resist first and then move into life. Again, life works well with the vitality and whatever vitality you have on your gear, and it adds it together, because if you don't have much vitality, then this life won't be based, the life is based on a percentage of what your vitality is. So there's no point of putting life if you're not going to be stacking vitality. Same thing with armor, is if you're not going to have armor on your gear, which we're fortunate as a demon hunter that now instead of getting dodge you get armor, but for me I think life is more important at the moment, and it's been working well. So this one, the last one, the utilities, it's really up to you. I don't even think I need resource cost reduction. I could probably just put it all in life on hit, but I just worked on something balanced. It's probably not ideal, but you're probably looking at life on hit. I don't even think area damage is going to be too much of an effect for this type of build, but hey, I find it alright. So skills, obviously I'm using a cold build. Now the reason why I'm using frost is because obviously I've got cold damage and that adds a multiplier to it. The polar station also chills enemies, and the reason why I've skipped to this one, which is the sentry, is because Coal of the Week gives me a 20% increase in damage, so I need to be placing those sentries on those packs to slow them down or get them chilled so I can get that multiplier. I'm using the custom engineering so that my sentries are up longer, and plus I get more sentries, so I get 3 additional ones plus the 2 from here, so I'm able to get 5. I just used multi-shot arson even though it's fire because the cold one isn't as strong as this, and plus the rockets have been boosted in the 2.1 patch, so that's why I'm using it. I'm using the cold cluster arrow just because, again, cold, and plus you gain 1% life out of it, which is insane. The wolf, just because it's going to give me extra DPS, but I do get all the companions, but the wolf definitely. This can be really changed. I'm using the healing vapor because it's the style I play. You can use the smoke screen one, this one that gives you the 1.5%, or most players are using some form of Volt, so you can use Tumble or something like that. I don't really need it, especially on the higher difficulties. I'm not moving around as much, so I find smoke screen being more viable. Awareness is basically to stop me from getting one-shotted from like jailers and things like that. It's a lifesaver basically, and it's a must in this build. And ballistics is increasing the rockets. Definitely this boosts up the damage. I would keep this on there as well. So that's my build. I'm using also, as you can see, the Enforcer gem, the Bane of Trapper, which I need to get 1 more rank on there to get the extra skill on there, which gives me a movement speed reduction on enemies, which is really good. I want to move into also Bane of the Powerful, so when you kill an elite damage, sorry, excuse me, when you kill an elite you get a boost in damage, but the second stat on there also gives me damage increase to elites, which is also good. So they're the things that I'm using. I would like to get the health globe that gives you the removes Waller, because that would be a lifesaver in some situations. So that's the build. There is a little bit more flexibility that you can look into with the build, but you do definitely need to have, the 5-piece Marauder with the Royal Ring with a Tasker and Theo. That's basically essential, a no-brainer. I've seen the Witching Hour because of the attack speed and the crit hit. It's just, you have to get it. I haven't seen really another belt that you can use. If you have other weapons, the Wind Force is good, but I got the Atrail first, so I don't need the Wind Force. The knockback on there is pretty good if you have a chance to knock back and then proc the strong arm bracer, so that's really good. If you don't have the Royal Ring, just farm T6 bounties, and it's you get 100% drop rate for the bounty bags, so increases your odds of getting the Royal Ring. And this is the Stone of Jordan. I've got a physical one which I don't need, but oh man, look at the damage against elites, 30%. That's a max roll. But I needed the life on there, so sorry, not the life, the cold damage on there, so that might not be the best. So guys, that's my build. Definitely you can change it up. I told you a bit of the stats that you need. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you like the trail from Neverending Stories, give us a thumbs up. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. and just go out there and play some Diablo. It's pretty cool. It is a bit grindy now for me, but there is a little bit more elements. As you can see, I've got 2 billion gold, which you don't need, thanks to the boon of Horadric Gem. So guys, have fun and enjoy.